Hi guys, in this video we are going to study what will happen if there is a change in temperature. So before starting, I'll introduce you to a new word, that is kinetic energy. So as I have said in the previous video that particles of matter, they are continuously moving. So particles of matter are in motion all the time, hence they possess kinetic energy. So what is this kinetic energy? So energy due to motion, that is known as kinetic energy. If a particle or a substance, if it is moving, it means that it possesses kinetic energy. So if I consider a box and if it is empty, it means that air is present inside it. So these air molecules or these particles of air, they continuously move. It means that air particles, they possess kinetic energy, and they are having the highest kinetic energy because the bond between the atoms is least. So this is an example of kinetic energy, that how you can represent. So kinetic energy, this word is utilized in this chapter many times. Then another word which comes is diffusion. The process of mixing of two different types of particles together is called diffusion. So if I am having maybe some things, if I consider this to be chocolates, or maybe I would say this yellow color would be pencil and red one would be pen. So after diffusion means mixing of two different types of particles, means intermixing basically. So after diffusion, what we see, after diffusion there is a mixture. We obtain a mixture, that is pen and pencil now have been mixed, but before what happens, pen were concentrated at a particular place. So diffusion will only happen diffusion will only happen when there would be a kinetic energy, because the particles have to move from their position and they take another position. So the kinetic energy of the particles, it also increases on heating. So diffusion will only happen, or it will happen, but it will also happen in a particular situation when some amount of energy is provided, maybe heat energy, light energy, or electric energy. Any sort of energy should be provided, then only diffusion may happen. And there are many questions on this particular topic, diffusion, which we will see in the next video. So that was all about diffusion. So diffusion and kinetic energy, two most important topics. Then now here the real topic comes, that can matter change its state? Water exists in three states, we very well know. As a solid, it is in ice. Liquid, water, we very well know. Gas is water vapor. So this is an indication that matter can change its state. So I would say yes, that matter can change its state because it exists in three states, solid, liquid and gaseous. As what? As ice, water and water vapor. So now let's see what are the effects of change of temperature. So what happens when a substance is heated, when some amount of energy is provided to it. So first we will see in solids. So as we heat solids, and whenever you talk about solid, first you should take the example of ice cube, right? So as we heat solids, the kinetic energy between the particles of the solid, it increases. The kinetic energy increases. It's given the kinetic energy between the particles of solid, it increases, which decreases the force of attraction between them. So what is being explained here? It is being explained here that whenever you provide some amount of energy, so heat energy is represented by the shape triangle. So when heat is provided to any solid, then what happens, the kinetic energy between the particles, it increases. When you're heating something, it means you're breaking the bond between them. So if this was the bond earlier, before heating, so now let's see what will happen. Now when you heat it, then the bond, it weakens. So they get far apart from each other, and thus the bond, it becomes weak, and thus what happens, the force of attraction this decreases, and thus the kinetic energy between the particles, it gets increased. Now since the kinetic energy is increased, then what will happen, the kinetic energy increase. Now the particles, they are free, so yes, now they can move. So what they start vibrating, they start to change the position. A will come to B, B will come to A, or maybe somewhere else, right? So slowly, due to heat, the particles become free. The particles, as you would see, the particles, they become free from their position, and solid, genuinely it get converted into liquid. So this is a representation that when you provide some heat energy to any solid, that is an ice cube, it get converted into liquid. So adding energy to a solid, it can create a liquid. And you can see a live example that whenever you keep few ice cubes in sunlight, then you will see that it get turned into water, liquid. Now again, most important topics: melting point. The temperature at which solid melts to become a liquid at atmospheric pressure is known as melting point. So atmospheric pressure, what is this atmospheric pressure? The pressure which is exerted by the weight of the atmosphere is known as atmospheric pressure. The pressure which the atmosphere exerts over anything is known as atmospheric pressure. And the melting point of ice is 273.16 Kelvin, or you can just consider, we usually consider only 273, only 273 only 273 Kelvin. What does it mean 273 Kelvin? You can also there are also some application based questions which we are gonna see in the next slides, though. Now let's continue. So fusion. Fusion is the process of melting of a solid into liquid is called fusion. The process of melting of a solid into liquid is known as fusion. It means the process which we have seen here. This is an example of fusion. That is what? The process of melting of a solid. Whenever you melt a solid and thus it get converted into liquid, that process is known as fusion. So now here it is given 273 Kelvin. Now we can also convert into Celsius, and this we are going to see in the later slides though. And you have to remember the definition of melting point. And what is melting point? That is 273 Kelvin, right? And fusion is also a very good question asked for 1 mark. That is the process of melting of a solid into liquid is known as fusion. Now in the melting process, once a solid reaches its melting point, it temperature does not increase further. So where does all the heat go? So what actually happens? Let us take an example, like if the melting point of any substance is X. Now the temperature may be in degrees Celsius. Now the temperature has reached to this amount of degrees Celsius. So now what will happen? Now we are, though we heat, no, though we heat, so where does the rest amount of energy, where does it go? So where does it go? That's the question. So scientists have given us the answer that the heat which is present in the solid at time of melting, it is used by the particles to diminish the force of attraction between each other, and the heat energy is therefore considered as hidden. So what is happening here? Here what is happening here, we are having a, if we are having a bond between the particles, and now the temperature is been reached to this amount of maybe Kelvin, Fahrenheit or Celsius. So now whatever energy you're further providing, that energy is used to break this bond, and you're breaking this bond, and this energy is hidden. So you're unable to see this energy, so that energy is hidden basically. So now can you give a name to this? So we have given a name to this, that is known as latent heat. Latent means hidden only. So the heat energy which is used to break the force of attraction between the particles of matter is known as latent heat. Latent means hidden. So since the heat is hidden, that is why we consider it as latent heat. Now again there is also a new question, that is latent heat of fusion. As I have told you in the previous slides, that is fusion is process of converting, or I can say melting of a solid into liquid is known as fusion, and latent heat is the heat energy which is provided to break the force of attraction between the particles. So now if I am combining latent heat and fusion, so we get the new word, that is latent heat of fusion. So now what is this latent heat of fusion? So the amount of heat energy which is required to change 1 kg of solid into liquid at atmospheric pressure as its melting point is known to be latent heat of fusion. So whatever heat energy you're required, so if you're taking some amount of heat energy, and with that heat energy you are converting 1 kg of solid into a liquid, so we have got fusion in this, and latent heat is also there because you are breaking down the force of attraction between the molecules. And this is a short question, maybe in MCQs or anywhere it can come. So this is what latent heat of fusion, the amount of heat energy which is required to change 1 kg. So 1 kg is for the definition only. So you can take any amount of uh, maybe particles or any substance. So now what will happen in liquids, because so far we have done about solids, and in solids what happen, a solid, it melts into liquid. So now we are having liquid. So now let's see what can we do with this liquid. So just like in solids, the kinetic energy of the particles of liquid, it increases. We are heating. Here in this container, in this kettle, we are having liquid. You are heating, which is represented by the shaped triangle. So the force of attraction between the molecules, again it decreases and they can move freely. So now we keep on supplying the heat energy, and what happens? The force of attraction, it ultimately it breaks, and this liquid, it turns into gas. It changes into gas. So we can give this name. What name we can give? We can say it as boiling. So boiling point. So the temperature at which a liquid starts boiling at atmospheric pressure, which the pressure exerted by the atmosphere is known as atmospheric pressure, is known as boiling point, and the boiling point is 373 Kelvin. So now again here it is not given in Celsius. So this is an again application based question. So whenever you want to convert Kelvin into Celsius, what you have to do? You have to just add 273. You just have to add 273. You just add this, and thus you will get the answer. So this is how you have to do. So the boiling point of water is given 373. It's given 373. So now this is in Kelvin, you have to convert into Celsius. So this is how you have to do. So in Celsius, this temperature is 100 degree Celsius. So this is an experiment to show how you can show the process of boiling. So this is a stand, burner, and substance, you can say any substance. This is water, and this is thermometer, and here the temperature would reach at 100 degrees Celsius, or I can say 373 Kelvin. So this is how you can show the experiment of boiling. Now the new concept is latent heat of vaporization. Latent heat means what? Hidden heat energy. Of vaporization means evaporation, you can also consider. So the amount of heat energy which is required to change 1 kg of liquid into gas at atmospheric pressure at its boiling point is known as latent heat of vaporization. So the point at which water converts into gas is known as latent heat of vaporization, nothing else. So what will happen when you decrease the temperature? So far we have seen what will happen if we increase the temperature, if we heat them. So now what will happen if you decrease the temperature? So now let's see in gas. The kinetic energy between the particles, it decreases and they turn into liquid state. You are decreasing the temperature, means you are taking the temperature into minus. So one such application is condensation, which is also known as liquefaction. So the process of converting a gas into a liquid by cooling down its temperature, means taking them into negative, is known as condensation. So example is the formation of clouds is due to the condensation of water vapor from earth. So when water vapor, it get converted into liquid, that is called condensation, and this is how clouds are formed. Again a 2 marks question. So this is what happens in gas. Now in liquids, the kinetic energy between the particle, it decreases and they turn into solids. So how this comes to know? This is by this is by the formation of ice. You can convert liquid, or liquid means water into ice. So this is an example that when you decrease the temperature, you can get a solid, and this is how the refrigerator works. So now the next topic is sublimation, a new word to you. So sublimation is very easy though. That is the change of state of gas directly into solid, and vice versa is known as sublimation. It means that if a solid, it directly changes into gas, it means sublimation is there. If a solid changes into gas, or gas into solid, is known as sublimation. Example is camphor. Camphor is a solid that directly evaporates into the air without changing to liquid state. That is known as sublimation. Now what is this camphor? Camphor is something which you use in your daily life, in your all the rituals, right? So this is what camphor. So now we can say either you increase or you decrease the temperature. We can surely see there is a change in the state of matter. So now this diagram sum up the whole thing what we have studied: solid, liquid and gas. And this question, or to draw this diagram, this is one of the most important question. So you have to draw this triangle diagram. You don't have to draw this umbrella, snowman and this cloud. Maybe some, this is maybe from photograph. You don't have to draw this here. You just have to write solid, liquid and gas. So when solid converts into liquid, this is known as melting. Or when liquid converts into solid, this is known as solidification or freezing, which we usually do in summers. And when liquid convert into gas, maybe water vapor, this is known as evaporation. When gas from the earth it get converted into rain, that water is known as condensation. When solid convert into gas or gas convert into solid, that is known as sublimation. An example is what? Example is of camphor. Now we are going to study what will happen if there is a change in pressure. So by applying pressure, we can bring the particles of matter close to each other, by thereby increasing the force of attraction among the particles. So if I am having a container and if I am pressing it continuously, or maybe a container or something, any substance, if I am pressing it continuously, it means that I am applying a pressure on it, and thus what will happen, the bond will become more strong. So this is what happens when you apply some pressure on any substance. Whenever you apply some pressure on any substance, the force of attraction on the particles, it get increased. So when you compress and decrease the temperature of the gas get converted to liquid, and the application is dry ice. Carbon dioxide in solid form is known as dry ice. So whenever carbon dioxide is in solid form, that is known as dry ice. So it can directly turn into gas by decreasing the pressure to 1 atmosphere. So this is something which is not included in NCERT. So you just have to learn what is dry ice. So dry ice is carbon dioxide in its solid form. That is what dry ice. So again, evaporation, one of the most easiest topic. So we very well know that particles of matter, they are never at rest. They continuously move. They possess what? They possess kinetic energy. So what happens whenever you provide some heat energy or due to sunlight, the water on the land, it get evaporated. It get evaporated means what? Means the bond between the molecules, it breaks, and thus it get converted to gas and the water goes into the atmosphere. That is known as evaporation. The conversion of liquid into gas is known as evaporation. So the phenomena of change of liquid into vapors at a given temperature below its boiling point is called evaporation. So now there is a difference between evaporation and boiling. In evaporation, the molecules, the force of attraction, it breaks down and it get converted into gas. But in boiling, what happens in boiling? Though the bond breaks down and it get converted to gas, but in boiling you can see these white bubbles, so white circles. So in boiling process, bubbles are also formed. You can see it at your home. Whenever you boil a glass of water, you're able to see some bubbles. So this is what the difference between evaporation and boiling. So now what are the factors affecting evaporation? So when there is an increase in surface area, so rate of evaporation, it increases. How? Particles have more space, so now they can evaporate easily. So since it is having more space, so the bond between them, so if it is having more space, then the bond between them, it can break down easily, and thus the rate of evaporation, it increases. Now if you increase the temperature, it means you are heating it more, then the kinetic energy among the particles, it increases. But if you are decreasing the temperature, then it decreases. Increase in humidity means the presence of moisture in the atmosphere. It is during rainy season, then the evaporation decreases because water is already in atmosphere. So now there is no need of water in atmosphere, so evaporation would not occur. So increase in wind speed, also evaporation increases because water vapors, they are blown. Whenever wind blows through some cloths, so it also takes away the water vapor. So it also takes the water which is present in your clothes. So now what we are going to do is one of the most important application based questions. So How evaporation causes cooling? The process of evaporation uses the energy of liquid particles. Therefore, the particles absorb the energy from the surroundings in order to compensate the energy that is being lost in the process of evaporation, and this results in cooling of our surroundings. So, how evaporation causes cooling means whenever there is evaporation, it causes cooling. So, this we are going to continue in the next session.